What's up, YouTube? Unfortunately, we have on the kitchen table today an example of an extremely poor job of shipping an electronic device. As you can see, this thin, flimsy shoebox already has a big rip in it and is busted, and the item inside doesn't feel very well protected at all. So I'm going to go ahead and open this thing the rest of the way up and hope the item inside isn't damaged. And of course, more comically bad packing. There's no actual bubble wrap or foam or anything, it's just paper. And luckily, it looks like our item did make it without any major damage. Turn it around and check. Amazingly, this thing looks alright, although that packaging was scary how poor it was. And this thing is untested, so I'm going to go ahead and plug it in live on camera, probably the worst thing you can do, and see if this thing powers on. Go ahead and pour out the power cord. Alright, it did take a ding. Look at the faceplate. It's not good. And, well, we already have a power light. And this thing gets warm quick. But I'm going to go ahead and check on my meter, make sure we don't have any DC at the speaker terminals, and see if this thing's going to work and play music. And here it is, hooked up to some speakers, and it doesn't sound too bad. The functional condition is pretty good, other than the fact it's got a little bit of a fuzz coming through on the right channel, but the left channel is very quiet, and both of them seem to be fairly matched in output. This thing's only a couple watts in power. I think it says 10 watts on the back. Not sure if they mean draw from the wall or if they mean total output, but either way, this thing's pretty small. That Yamaha receiver there is already fairly small, and this thing's pretty tiny. It's about the size of a medium-sized hardback book. But go ahead and play a little music. Has individual volume controls, and it doesn't have a center detent for it or any kind of thing really to keep them together other than these two little lines, which is about halfway up. But doesn't sound too bad, especially considering the age of this unit. We're going to open it up in a minute and try and track down exactly when it was made. But as far as the tone control on this, it's just one of these ones where it just goes from more treble to more bass. Actually, if you turn the bass up, it seems to attenuate the rest of the frequencies quite a bit. So, not my favorite thing. And it's got a little mono stereo switch, and also has some RCA speaker jacks on the back for a set of remote speakers. You can switch between this and the main speakers, and a little headphone out. So pretty basic, little small receiver. You can see from my hand this thing's pretty tiny, especially for back in its time, but it was advertised as being a bedroom bookshelf type stereo or something for background music. So I'm going to go ahead and take the cover off and we'll look inside this thing. Alright, here's the Lafayette, or Lafayette, not sure how you pronounce it, 10A, with the cover removed. Here's the internals. It's a tone control board, the output board. One thing I found interesting about this amplifier was that it had the output transformers. To my best understanding, the purpose of those was used for impedance matching with the speakers, DC protection, and also because at the time the transistors, you can see them on the bottom there, attached to that bracket as a form of heat sink, were not able to operate at high currents, only high voltages, so the output transformers were used to step down the voltage to a level suitable for speakers. That's my best understanding, because I was a little bit surprised to find them in a solid state amplifier, but I haven't really owned a piece of equipment this old in the past. This one actually I think is from 1971 or 72. Most of the dates on the capacitor and the side of the unit are from 1969 up through early 1971. But kind of a neat little amplifier. Looks like a lot of hand work went into this thing, soldering all the connections. And it's not terribly powerful, but even having the output transformers, there's not too much low frequency attenuation, because I do still get response down to 5 Hertz with this amplifier, which I'll demonstrate here in a minute. If anyone else wants to weigh in on the debates in the comment section about the function of the output transformers in this amplifier, that would be welcome too. I'm interested in increasing my understanding of how this amplifier works. But enough chit chat. I'll go ahead and briefly show the back of the unit. Not a whole lot going back there. Pretty basic. Doesn't have any recommended impedances listed, but it seems to work fine with these 8 ohm speakers. Made in Japan. And I'll go ahead and run the 5 to 100 Hertz sweep. And even at 5 Hertz, it's not enough to overdrive these speakers by any means, but pretty good for something this old that it can still go that low at any SPL. Another quick note on this amplifier, at least the damage it received. I did go ahead and request a refund from the seller on eBay. eBay really doesn't give you a whole lot of other options. I probably would have been okay with just accepting a refund on the shipping costs, but eBay said if it arrived damaged, just request a refund, so that's what I did. In this case, I don't feel bad. I've gotten burned recently. That computer monitor in the background actually had a little bit of damage to the stand, and it doesn't sit on the table flat like it's supposed to, and I gave neutral feedback, but it didn't make a huge stink. And when I personally ship items on eBay, especially something like this, it's a vintage piece of hi-fi gear, I try and always go the extra mile, or really anything I ship, to make sure it gets there safely. I've actually worked for a shipping company in the past, so I know the kind of abuse that a box takes. You never know what's going to happen to it. And in this instance, I think the seller could have prevented the damage entirely with just a piece of bubble wrap and some duct tape. So don't feel too remorseful about just asking for a refund on this particular unit. And can't think of a whole lot else to say right now. I'm sure as soon as I shut the camera off, I'll think of all the things that I want to say now. But if you have any comments or want to weigh in on the debate, I'm interested to see what you guys have to say about the circuitry using output transformers. Just leave it in the comments section, and if you like what you saw here today and want to see other videos about various audio equipment, new and old, and really anything else, just subscribe, and thanks for watching.